Hello everyone, welcome to the 120 Q&A practice. We're going to start off with a more simple transcript. This is the transcript that covers the boy that gets bit by the dog. Okay, and it looks like plaintiff is questioning. Ready? So he lost one of his shoes. Yes. So he was at the end of the driveway. Yes. And you were inside the garage? Yes. And what was Josh doing? He was coming in. Was he was crying. He was crying? Yes. Was he walking in or was he running? He was hopping, putting on his shoe. That was Josh? Yes. Okay, and did he hop all the way up the driveway? Yes. And he was crying during his hopping? No. He stopped crying? No. He wasn't crying yet because he didn't know the dog bit him because he was across next door. So when you first saw Josh coming back, he wasn't crying? No. And when did he start crying? When he saw Daniel's leg. When was that? When he came in the house. So where was Daniel when you saw Josh coming up the driveway? He was already in the house. So when you went into the garage, you first saw David hopping, correct? Uh-huh. Was that a yes? Yes. Then he hopped. Did he hop all the way inside the garage where you were standing? Yes. And were you still standing about 4 or 5 feet from the little door? Yes. Okay. Then after he hopped to where you were standing, where did he go? I don't know. He just went into the house. Did anybody help him get into the house? No, he just hopped into the house and I went to go get Josh. So Daniel went inside the house, correct? Uh-huh, yes. And then did you still stand 4 to 5 feet from the little door? No, I walked a little bit farther. How much further? I don't know. Do you know how many steps you took? No. Were you still in the garage when you saw Josh? Yes. How soon after Daniel went into the house did you see Josh? I don't know. Less than 30 seconds. When was the first time you saw him was, at the end of the driveway? Uh-huh. Was he with anybody? No. Then you saw him pick up his shoe? Uh-huh. Was that a yes? Yes. As he's putting on his shoe, he's hopping up the driveway? Yes. And then did you exchange any words while he's hopping up the driveway? No. When did you talk to Daniel? Strike that. When did you talk to Josh? When he came into the house. When he actually came inside the house? Yes. So you met inside the garage? Yes. And then did both of you go inside the house? Uh-huh, yes. Okay. Then where were you when you started talking to Josh? We were in the kitchen. What did you guys talk about? I don't know. I forgot. When did he find out that Daniel had been bitten? When he came inside the house. Was Daniel in the kitchen? No, he was in the family room on the floor. Okay, I'm going to switch transcripts. Okay. Something a little bit more challenging. All right. Moving right into a more challenging transcript. This is going to start with the court, okay? What are the duties of a pipe walker? Will you tell us that? Just to inspect the lines to see if there are any leaks. Thank you. Do you also inspect the structures on which the lines are maintained? Yes. Why? To see if any oil or gasoline is showing on the surface. Is it also the duty of a pipe walker to inspect the structures on which the pipelines are maintained? You mean on the trestle? Trestles or any kind of structure on which a pipeline may be maintained. Yes. You are supposed to report anything unusual, is that right? Any kind of excavating that might be going on. Anything that may be dangerous to the trestle, is that right? That's right. When you first inspected this trestle, was it in the location in which it was on October 10? Yes. Has it been moved since that time? No. Do you remember how many pipelines there were going over that trestle at that time? 2. It had 2? That's right. Now, was it part of your duties to inspect certain warning signs that were located under the trestle? Once each week, I reported to the office that the signs were intact. What kind of signs were they? Warning signs. Where was that warning sign located? They hung on the trestle. Okay, switching again to another transcript. All right. Here we go. It looks like defense. Let's see. Looks like plaintiff. Plaintiff is questioning. Ready? What else did you talk about? Your Honor, I would ask that all Officer Girk's testimony be taken subject to motion to strike. I'd like to research that motion. All right, so understood. What else did you discuss with Mr. Heron at that time? During the course of the interview, Mr. Heron stated he, Stephen, and Billy Witten had been to the beach area in Mr. Heron's vehicle. En route back to the Anaheim area from the beach, they had discussed pulling a robbery. He, at this time, stated that he had brought up the idea of the robbery, at which time Stephen Witten stated it would be easy and he knew a market they could do. They, at this time, drove to the Stop and Go market and had parked on the east side of the market. They had gotten out of the vehicle and there were customers in the store at this time. They did not want to pull a robbery with customers in the store, so it was decided that Joseph Heron would go into the market and buy a bottle of wine. Mr. Heron stated while he was in the market purchasing this wine, Billy and Stephen came running into the store, at which time Stephen had the rifle. Stephen pointed the rifle at the clerk and asked for the money. Billy, at this time, had gone behind the counter and started taking money from the register. Joseph Heron, at this time, stated he started to leave the market, at which time he observed the police vehicle. Just as he got to the doorway, Stephen and Billy came running out of the market and that he and Billy had run north on Onagonda and left the area. Did he indicate what part he was to play in this armed robbery? Yes, sir. He stated that he was going into the market to make a purchase of a bottle of wine. They were waiting for customers to leave. Was there any purpose in purchasing the bottle of wine? Yes, they wanted to find out how much money was in the cash register. The individual we are talking about is the man seated at the front of the counsel table? Yes, sir. May we reflect that he is the defendant in this case? Yes, the record will so indicate. Thank you. I have no further questions. Cross-examination? Yes. Officer Girk, did you ever indicate at any time that it would be beneficial to Mr. Heron's welfare strike that? Did you ever indicate to Mr. Heron that it was a good idea for him to turn himself in and get this matter cleared up? No, sir, I did not. Did you ever indicate to him what the penalties for robbery were? Yes, sir, I did. What did you advise him? I advised him that armed robbery was the second most serious crime in the California Penal Code. It carries a sentence of 5 years to life. Okay, and that concludes our Q&A practice for the 120 class. Have a great day.